So here we have Walther's AutoTac 2. Walther released 2 of these automatic knives. That's the bigger one, the sturdier one. The other has a bi-colored blade and is more tactical, but I like this one better. Does it make sense to use an automatic knife? Stay tuned to find out. Now, the interesting part about this knife is the plunge lock. It's the button that you can see here. And if you want to close the knife, you need to push the button and then close the knife against the resistance of the spring. Once it's closed, the push of the button will deploy it again. And you don't want that to happen when you have the knife somewhere in your bag or in your trousers. So there is a little safety switch that locks the button in both positions. So you cannot open the knife now. And also with the plunge lock, it's not possible to manually open the knife because the plunge lock completely locks it. So you always need to deploy with the button. And then as you grip the knife, it could easily happen that you touch this button. So it's always a good idea to lock this. Generally, I am not a huge fan of automatic knives. And you know, with good ball bearings, it's really easy to open knives with a string or with a flipper. But I found this quite interesting because it only costs 40 euro and you get a pretty sturdy knife for that. So as you saw before, the blade is a typical spear point shape, a wedge here. And then we have this green G10 handle. The blade is really nicely centered for a knife in this price point, and the action is really smooth. Also, Walther really got the texture of the grip right. It arrives in Walther's rather iconic packaging. It's the black one. See, it still has the price tag on it. And the steel is 440C. The deployment is automatic. We have a plunge lock. Blade finish is satin, and the blade shape, like I said, is a spare point blade. Blade length, the sharpened portion of the blade is 80 millimeters. So in most countries, automatic knives are not allowed in public. In Austria, they are. But I still prefer to carry to EDC a manually deploying knife. As always with Walther, knife does come with a pouch, a nice little pouch you could put onto your rather small belt if you're inclined to do so. But unlike a couple of Walther's other knives, this one comes with a clip. It's not a deep carry clip. Personally, I would have preferred the clip to sit on top of the knife here, but it is very sturdy. I have seen some Chinese knives where the clip was actually only affixed to the G10. Here, of course, the screws go in all the way to the metal. So the clip-on brake, it's really sturdy, but concealed carry is not an option with this. Walther also thought of a little hole here, so if you want to put a lanyard, you can do that as well. As I already said, I was quite surprised. It's also possible to close the knife one-handed. The spring is relatively strong, has to be in order to deploy reliably. Now, the one thing that I did not like about this knife is the sharpness of the blade. It's not really an issue, that's what sharpening equipment is there for. But this is definitely the bluntest knife I ever bought from Walther. I have a couple of their other knives in the same price range, and even the machetes are sharper than this one. Cutting paper, not really. Cutting hair, absolutely impossible. But I'm going to change that, so that's not really an issue. And considering that you need to spend 40 euros on this, it is, in my opinion, a nice addition to any collection. Also, in terms of ergonomics, I really like this. It gives you very solid grip on the knife. There is no chimping on the blade, but we got a bit of chimping here. So I want to lock it. It's actually, I think, if we sharpen this properly, it's a pretty good EDC knife if automatic knives are your cup of tea.